Welcome to Talkin the Gridiron, your ultimate destination for all things NFL. We're here to deep dive into the heart of football, breaking down the action, the strategies, and the stories that make the NFL so electrifying. From the Sunday showdowns to Monday Night Magic, we're covering every touchdown, tackle, and timeout. So grab your game day snacks, settle into your favorite chair, and join us as we navigate the highs and lows of the gridiron, where the game is always on and the conversation never stops.
All right, here talking the Gridiron Week 8. Let's go to work here. We got a lot to get into. We got Brian down there in the bottom right giving us the Niners updates, the Niners rippings that I enjoy once in a while. So I like that as well. We get Jimmy with the Broncos. He went to the game today. Like, looking forward to that. Take a little in our afternoon delight, get a little extra work there. And we got Terrell back from Elizabeth Sports here. My main man, one of the best here, one of the best in the business. And my goodness, gentlemen, he's back. And he's back with a Hail Mary, Jimmy Polano. He's back with a Hail Mary. How does this man do this?
It makes sense because you get out from underneath that dark storm cloud, and now good things can happen, and the stadium doesn't fall apart, and you got a quarterback. I said it when you guys played the Bengals, like, you guys got a quarterback for real. That's that dude. That dude.
That was like just roll it out. It was like Madden-esque, I felt like. I was playing like NFL Live 08 or something like that. Just rolling out right, then back to the left. Just who did you have, Vic, out there? And then just throwing a lob up in the air and then tipped and got. Terrell, what were you thinking? Just my good. You're the fan here. What happened? Come on. How are you feeling?
Right now, I'm feeling great.
What was the breakdown when that happened? Like, in your mind, what were you like? We suck. We're pathetic. We're about to lose to the Bears. And then, like, you know what I mean? Like, what was going through your mind here?
Well, before that, I was listening, and they were about to score, and they fumbled. And I'm like, oh, let's go. And then we had the ball, and it was like third down and whatever, and they were like, oh, they got the first down. And I was like, let's go. Get the short. And I said, well, you better go ahead and go for it on fourth down. Don't give them the ball back with 4 minutes, dummy. Go for it. It's like a smidge. It's a smidge. Go for it. And then I cut the radio off when we punted because I knew they were about to score, just to check on other things and check on fantasy, whatever. And the dude cuts off his co-host, and he's like, no, I got to tell you something. And he said it, so I turned it back to the other stage. I'm like, yo! And all I got to say is, in the words of the great Tupac, Hail Mary, run with me. That ball don't lie, because that fourth down play was not a flag. That was not a penalty. We should have been out of there anyway. But, hey, I'm grateful for it. I'm telling you, when you get something like a Jaden Daniels,
magic.
Whether it's hook or crook, lucky, whatever, it's just a presence where you believe. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Jimmy, do you feel like it's like that Burrow run that the Bengals had with him? Does it feel a little bit like that? You know what I mean? Magical, that second, third. I don't know. Like it just feels like
it's different. It's different in the fact that his is happening sooner. Burrow obviously had the injury his first season, so it's a little bit tough to compare that way, but I feel like you can compare them in the fact that they're both so calm and cool. Like, nothing will get to them. You will not rattle them. They will fight and figure out ways to continue on and give their guys chances to make plays. I think that's where you can compare the two of them, but Jaden Daniels with his athleticism, that's something that Burrow has to work on. That is something that Jaden Daniels has been born with and he's been blessed with, and he is using it to an advantage, but he's also using it in the right way where he's trying to actually learn how to play quarterback around his athleticism. He's not just trying to be like a Kyler Murray or a Michael Vick, like second year of his career. I'm not reading defenses. If my first guy's not open, I'm taking off. Like, he's not doing that, and he's slowly worked his way. Like, that's a tough game to win today. That is not an easy thing to pull off for a lot of quarterbacks, let alone a rookie quarterback. Now, I think that, it's incredible. It's better than what I was anticipating. I thought that he would have the chance to be good. He obviously had a very high ceiling coming into the league, but everything with Washington over the last few years, and you're like, is he going to be able to come in, and is it just going to fit? I guess as of right now, the offense is good. The offense is good.
Brian, is this enough to crush the Bears? They have the Cardinals at Arizona, Patriots, Packers, Vikings, Lions, Niners, Vikings, Lions. That's their schedule coming up. Is this loss enough to crush their playoff dreams? This Hail Mary, does this end it for them?
I mean, I was just checking the corners who gave up that play, and they just look like in shock. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough to give up something like that.
Hail Mary! Oh my god! To lose the game on a Hail Mary, that's just gotta be.
Why are they playing volleyball in the back end of a Hail Mary? You're supposed to knock that shit down, not up.
Knock it down. That's my favorite, like primetime Chris Berman. What do they say? Knock it down, right there, right there. That's what it is with it. All right, so your team stays in first there. You've been feeling it all year long. A big win for them. I mean, just a season-changing win almost in some regards. In terms of a win-loss, right? Like we said, the Bears moved to 5-2, right? Now they're 4.
I think they're 5-3 now.
Yeah, so they would have been 5-3. What are they right now? They're 4-3 right now.
Yep.
So they would have gone to 5-2. So I mean, that's a big difference right there.
This was a wild card standing game. This was a wild card standing game at the end of the season. Now you look up, you have the tiebreaker over a team that it's not a murderer's row. Like, you still have to play Detroit, which is going to suck because Detroit not only beat you up when they play you, but they beat you so bad that you suck the next week after. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I know that some of us like to gamble. Whoever plays against the Lions the next week normally loses. That's been and they get blown out a little bit. It hasn't been pretty. This was a huge movement game for Washington, and now they can be taken seriously as in the mixed team. They're definitely thinking playoffs right now. They're doing everything that they can to be in the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see what the Eagles do, because the Eagles got a nice little bounce back today.
They did against your team right there. No doubt they did.
Whose team?
Well, some other team we know somewhere around here in the NFL. What do you guys make of this? We thought it was kind of a big game going into it today in terms of division. Cousins, throws for a pair of touchdowns there against the Bucs. They bring out the creamsicles there, as people used to say back in the day. So the Falcons the Falcons are one of the weirdest teams. I'll always say that for the history of my life.
God damn it. I put Pitts on my bench because he never catches anything.
Yeah, he does today. He kills you. I kept him in. Thankfully, the Philadelphia tight end was out, so I didn't have to think too much about it. But Mayfield, another big game. They get the safety that keeps him into it. Who do you guys have the division edge here? Is it the Falcons because of this win, or do you think the Bucs, Mayfield's a little bit more consistent? Or Terrell, you're saying so you think it's the Falcons by far?
It's clearly the Falcons. Clearly Falcons.
All right.
This was
it went silent there, Jimmy.
And where did they think stuck?
I can't keep going in and out.
Terrell going a little bit in and out. Yeah, why don't you jump back on here in just a second with it? Jimmy, what do you make of the Falcons and Bucs? Who do you believe in more? Sounds like he was going with Falcons.
Right now, with the way that the injury bug is bent for the Bucs, I would say the Falcons, and they seem to be kind of there's still a lot of holes, and they still have a few things to shore up. But right now, it looks like they're on a trajectory to go forward. The Buccaneers look like they're either going to stay stagnant or drop back. I would have said the Buccaneers a couple weeks ago. I still think that Baker Mayfield is having a career season. Like, it's not on him. It's not anything that's happening. But I now lost my first and third round fantasy picks because Christian McCaffrey refuses to play, and he just likes to look pretty on the sidelines now. And Mike Evans was my third round pick, and he was netting me a solid 25 points a game, and he's out for the season too. And Godwin's out for the season too. And it's just Tampa, write this one off. And why the hell would you ever? I get that the creamsicle's cool and it looks different. You set a record for the amount of games to lose before you actually won a game in those jerseys. Why would you ever throw it back to that time period?
You don't like the pirate? I like when you listen to the 90s video and they're like, he's a happy pirate. Or like, we know what you mean, buddy. We know what you mean. Like when they say it like that.
The all-star and the brown and the dark blood red with Warren Sapp and Allstott. That's what I'm partial to for Tampa.
So do you think the Falcons now have the advantage in this division?
what I saw out of Carolina and New Orleans, it's still these two teams. We'll see who wins the next matchup, but these are the two teams that you have any faith in going forward. If any of the other teams in this division make the playoffs, they're a first-round exit, and they're going to get their doors blown off. That would be the shittiest playoff team in the last 10 years.
They've actually played 2 times already, and Atlanta won both times, so they already own the tiebreaker.
Man,
I think that they're on the right track. I think that I like where they're going a lot more than I like where Tampa's going.
I agree. I kind of agree with you in that regard. I just feel like there's too much like variables with the land along the way there. Brian, where are we at with your Niners here? 10-6 halftime?
Yeah, 10-6 at halftime. I think, Jimmy, your parable about anybody that loses to Detroit, loses the next week, might be wrong this week because we're playing like absolute dog crap this week. So,
Jonathan, I love this version of you with the Niners once in a while. I love this kind of like. I mean, it does bring it right, Jimmy. It does bring a different.
I'm just over Shanahan. It's like change up your game plan one damn time in your career.
You back off my Colorado boy.
Brian,
I burn out. If you keep it up like this, you're going to be out of a job and looking for something else. Because I'm tired of this goddamn garbage from you. You can't change your shit.
Brian, you might be working for Mark Davis. You don't want that. You don't want to be.
I'm tired of this shit.
10-6, Brian. Right, we're headed to halftime. Purdy's, come on, 10 for 16, Brian. 10 for, relax. I mean, you're not being able to run the ball. At least the defense is showing.
I'm at the same thing with Jimmy. I'm about to change teams because they're going to go back to Kyle Shanahan. They're going to probably bring Kirk Cousins in here because they're fucking idiots.
Are we bringing back the Bengals jacket? Is that where we're going with this?
God damn it.
Terrell's shaking his head there. Are you with the Niners the same way? I mean, the Rams haven't lived up to your part, what you thought, but the Niners have kind of been down a little.
I'm gonna tell you, I already told y'all, San Francisco's window is already closed. I told you that they had their window. It ended at the end of the Super Bowl. It's done, and now you're paid for Brock Purdy because you think you have to, and you're gonna get stuck in a stupid boat. And like my brother said today, the Rams look scary. They look like maybe the most well-balanced team in the division. And how far are they behind? Because Seattle lost. Arizona had a big win, but they don't look as balanced. The Rams look like don't let them win another 1 or 2 in a row because it could be what I said it was going to be. You know? Nobody ever stop this guy. Like, what's going on?
Well, if you get him back, then that changes everything.
He's back. He was back on Thursday, and that was a hell of a reason why they were able to pull that off.
Against, and then Jefferson still did his thing, so that was an interesting battle between the two of those guys in the Thursday night game. Did you guys read into that for the Vikings? Are they done because of that? Or like, are you kind of like that's 2 in a row now?
It'll depend on how they play coming back because that's a tough loss against Detroit, who. You know, no sweat when you lose to the Lions this season, but then to come back, and they didn't play well against Los Angeles. They had to give Los Angeles a lot of reason to hang around in that game, and you let it come down to a blown call in the end zone that you get a safety on. Like, that's a bad bounce-back performance after a tough loss. So now we'll see what the season's going to look like. If they can return to what we saw at the beginning, or at least a little bit closer to that, and they win a few more games and they keep themselves in the race, then we're fine. But this could also be one of those losses because this was not a good team last year. No. And it's not necessarily like uber talented where they're going to be able to overcome a lot of things. I think that they're going to get Hawkinson back, which might do a little bit for some period of time. It will depend on how the next game the Vikings play goes. That'll be the deciding factor of their season.
You got to chill, bro. Like they say on the fantasy show on ESPN. The Vikings are fine, man. The Vikings are fine. Listen to what you just said. Everybody that plays Detroit gets destroyed, and they barely lost. And they
Titans, Merry Christmas.
So come on, dude, chill, bruh, chill. You know what I mean? That was a setup game. They played the Rams, primetime game. You know what I mean? On the road, like
they better win the next one though.
Who they play next?
They don't have to win. I just want them to look better. That's not what I'm saying. They don't got to win. I don't know. I'll have to look.
They play the Colts next on Sunday Night Football.
I think they're going to win
Sunday night with Chris Collinsworth calling the game.
Oh, The Colts are hilarious.
I know Jimmy's
You
gonna
have
like
a quarterback that said he needed rest. I mean, come
10
on.
for 32, and he did rest. That's what he got today. What do you think of your Bengals tonight? They got off to a good little start early here with the white uniforms.
Every time he goes to this, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, you got that. It's all right if you don't hear this. They go here with it.
It's like every time they go to the board thing.
What do you make of this, Jimmy, with the Eagles and the Bengals? They end up going to that. What do you make?
There's just a lot of stuff that they have not figured out yet, and it doesn't look like they're going to. Had a couple other players, apparently T. Higgins might have blown his quad on Friday at practice, so that'll be something moving forward. If they can get him back healthy, maybe it is time to shop him and see who might want to pick him up for the end of the season. It might be too late. Who really knows? It's just, this is what I was kind of expecting out of the season after the first month. It was going to, the offense is what the offense is. They didn't really score all that much today, but the defense can't stop anybody. They make everybody look like they're really good. And I think the only teams that we made look rough were guys like, we were playing an emergency quarterback last week in Cleveland, and we were playing Daniel Jones 2 weekends ago, and we barely beat them by 8 points. So this is just what the Bengals season is. I know that Jordan in our VSN chat saying fire Zach Taylor. He will not get fired until it is the absolute, like he has to run the car off the road, have it set on fire, shoot the gas tank so that the car explodes, and then maybe Paul Brown will start looking at, okay, Zach, this is probably a little bit not working out.
What's he on, year number 3?
5
now?
He was there. I think he was there the same year that Burrow was drafted. I think they were rookies together, or maybe can't remember.
Bengals will give at least 15.
I feel like me and Jimmy are in the same situation right now.
Yeah, except I would give Shanahan way more credit than anybody should give Zach Taylor. I think that Zach Taylor's had a couple times.
He gets way too many excuses. It's always something else with that guy. Like, come
Brian
on,
is
man.
frustrated. I get it. Brian is frustrated right now.
Did he not go to 2 Super Bowls?
It's always Jimmy, or it's another quarterback. It's like he can't know how to run a consistent offense. I mean, and Andy Reid is your freaking daddy.
Andy's a lot of daddies. And he was another daddy today. He took over my Raiders. He was a daddy to them as well. Brian, I love the intensity. 10-6. It's halftime. We still haven't started. We're about to start the third quarter here. In just a minute, we'll see if they can, maybe your Niners get an early touchdown here and take the lead. What do you think of Doug's Browns, though? They get the win over the Ravens. This is kind of one of the crazy games of the day. Lamar Jackson just running left and right with it. Garrett coming in with the Arnold Schwarzenegger mask today. I saw early on they showed that as well. So I don't know, Terrell, what do you think? The Browns, that's got to be one of the bigger upsets of the year. That's bigger than Raiders over Ravens, right?
Yeah, that's a big win, and it just shows the potential of the team, and it shows the detriment of Deshaun Watson. So, but he's getting his money. The only thing that the Browns can hope for is that something in his contract, now that it's past that date, if he can get somebody to say something about him, they can maybe try to get some money back. But I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. That whole division is so weird. So weird, that division, which I thought was going to be the second toughest division. And now it is a tough division to pick a winner because, I don't know.
They just like to beat the shit out of each other. Everybody's each other's worst matchup.
I mean, you're in the division well. I mean, is this a surprise to you, Jimmy, in any way?
The Browns always have one or two of these, except for the year that they went defeated. It seems like there's a couple times, and this is a normal spot for NFL games too. When a backup quarterback comes in, the team has a little bit of a spark, and everybody knows that they love Jameis. Well, that's one thing that you can tell when you watch Cleveland Brown games when Deshaun Watson is at quarterback. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to be there in the huddle with him. They're all doing it because that's what they're paid to do, and that's their job. That is not necessarily how a team molds itself together and is successful. When you have a quarterback that, while he made the dumbest pregame speech I think that I may have ever heard, when you say that you're playing for the decal on the side of your helmet and he plays for a team that has no decal. You guys got a stripe down the center, Jameis. You play for the Browns now. but he's a leader. Everybody that he's played for has wanted to play hard for him. And if he can not throw 30 interceptions, he can do some things. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but I don't necessarily see this as like watch out for the Browns now. Watch out. They're going to get hot.
I don't know. Let's see if I can get something on here with this video here too.
Jameis Winston making your first start since 2022. The word you used before the game was unwavering. How do you describe this victory?
Unwavering faith. Ultimate belief.
I think he mentioned that about 97 times in his pregame speech. Ultimate faith, ultimate that. Terrell, I know I can hear you say you can't hear it when you go there. So if I go to that video, I understand you can't hear me for a second or two. I don't know. What do you guys think of like just the Browns? Like in the terms of like, is there a chance, Jimmy, with him they make a little run, or you think that's just a one game off?
1 or 2 games. That's all it's going to be. And I don't think that whenever somebody else is available, it seems like the Browns organization is going to have whoever else can play quarterback. They don't necessarily want to see Jameis play quarterback for them unless it's absolutely necessary. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they are going to do, because I think that they will go back to DTR, or they will go back to Deshaun Watson when Deshaun's not going to be healthy again, but they'll probably go to somebody else before they go back to Jameis unless proven otherwise. If he goes on a run, then it will be Jameis' spot. You can't give it up. And as an owner, you can't look at it. You look at your fan base and have a quarterback that's actually getting your team to play up to its potential, because there's a lot of talent there. You can't avoid a winning streak. You can't turn your blind eyes at a winning streak. I think the trade deadline is in 2 weeks. They were thought of as a seller. Maybe the next 2 weeks will decide that for certain. I think that's where we're at.
It'll be interesting what happens. The Ravens, they've lost to now the Raiders and the Browns. Not necessarily the 2 losses you want to have on the year.
You think Lamar Jackson has ADHD and he just gets bored?
I mean, my goodness, the Raiders and the Browns, that's your 2 losses right now. When you look at these 2 teams, that's kind of crazy. I think those are your 2 losses. Best of the rest. This was a weird game. If you're watching this, the Colts have that return where it looks like they take the lead. They don't. It's just an odd game. The Texans survive again in this division. And the Colts, I mean, Richardson did not look good today. He did not look good at all. What was he, like 15 for 32?
He had that touchdown pass. I saw that touchdown pass get reposted 1,000 times within an hour. And then you look at his stat line at halftime, and he was 2 of 9 for that 75-yard bomb. That's it.
A big win for the Texans, though, Jimmy. They go to 6-4.
They are,
or 6-2. And the Colts go to 4-4. Excuse me.
That's a team where they are good, and that division is so bad that I do think that they're still going to be in the playoffs. But I think that last year they were better. I think this year they haven't quite figured it out. They haven't quite hit that stride yet. They're just more experienced, and they're able to pull out these more ugly games. I have not seen them play to the level that they played at the end, especially near the end of last season when they had to go on the run to make the playoffs. I still have a lot of faith in them. I'm not saying that they're bad, and I just think that they have a lot of things that they still need to work out. This is a young team. This is a second-year quarterback. This is a second-year head coach. They're not going to have everything all figured out, but I'm not necessarily looking at them as AFC title contenders. They may make a run if they can figure it out, but right now they're good. They're solid, but nothing special.
Brian, are you over Richardson there a little bit, or do you kind of still believe in him a little bit with the Colts?
Yeah, it's just never a good idea to say you want to take a break. Because I don't know. He's looking like, I don't know, Jamarcus Russell right now when you give him a CD. I'm just being real. I mean, if you give up like that and you just say, oh, I need a rest, like that's a problem for a quarterback. You can't say something like that.
Jimmy, his final stat line was 10 for 32, 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, took 5 sacks for 35 yards. He did rush for 6 carries, 45 yards, but that 10 for 32. I mean, the Texans are a decent defense, but man, right there, that's a rough stat line if you're.
He's not a quarterback. He shouldn't be your quarterback. That should not be the guy that you were trying to defend as hard as you were. Colts Nation, you guys need you need a different answer. You should have been hyping up the 38-year-old, 40-year-old, whatever he is, Joe Flacco. That's who would win you football games. If you're really interested in winning football games, which is what you all say, that dude sucks. That dude cannot play quarterback in this league. He can go play tight end. He can go play receiver, something like that. He is not a quarterback.
I mean, Terrell, did you hear any of that?
Yeah, I heard everything. I apologize about my internet, but I think everything is straight now. Woo, no delays.
Clear as day, baby.
Let's go. First and foremost, okay? First and foremost.
Concern for Diggs going down on non-contact injury.
Diggs, I mean, it's a big injury for them. Anytime you lose depth there with it. But go ahead, Terrell.
Well, you're talking about Anthony Richardson, right?
Yeah, 10 for 32.
My thing, saying coming out of college, we knew the throwing issues, right? We knew all these things. He got drafted because of the combine and the potential, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of another quarterback that everybody said couldn't play quarterback. He should go to another position or whatever. And then he's decided not to have an agent and sign a $200 million deal and win 2 MVPs, right?
Yeah.
He worked on his craft. Lamar Jackson, I'm speaking of. Anthony Richardson, give him time, dude. He's been hurt. He hasn't been able to do these reps, get these reps out of him and things. I would rather have that potential than have Brock Purdy. Simple as that. Because Brock Purdy's going to demand almost the same amount of money. I mean, right? Don't take always $1 more. What potential would you rather have?
That's pretty absurd to say that Trent Richardson is better than Brock Purdy. That's where I'll stop.
I said the potential of it for the next 4 years. The potential of it. Which one would you feel more comfortable with?
It'd be Purdy still for me.
Definitely Purdy.
Purdy has a superstar team. He has a superstar team.
I can't because of Richardson. 10 for 32. That's rough right there. That's
okay. 10 for 32.
Rough. I don't know.
I mean, Peyton Manning's rookie year, what did he do? There's tons of quarterbacks.
He did throw a lot of picks. I'll give you that.
Jaden Daniels, the first half of this year, people were saying he needs to stop running. He needs to learn how to throw it. His first read ain't there. He runs. Now, the last, 3-4 games, it's like, oh, he's throwing the ball perfect. Oh, he's doing all these things.
But there was always improvement with those guys. There's not been any. There's not improvement. You just get 1 or 2 flash plays every game.
But the sample size is this big. What did he play? 2 games last year?
Here's the thing. I think that you and the Colts management, and I think that rational football fans that understand what we're watching and understand what he was in college, probably all feel the same way. It's
right.
Not the reason why we go so hard at them is because Colts fans sit there and tell you that he is going to be the next Jesus that played football. And I mean, maybe
nobody listens to Colt fans. They're not the Cowboy fans or Steeler fans or obnoxious Eagle fans.
Trust me. If they catch hold of something that you say, they will. They made me
pretty hard this.
Never heard no Colts fans say nothing, dude.
I'm just saying they were just loud. Like they just chirped. That's all they did. It was like 3 hours. I posted something halfway through school, and then 3 hours later, I got my phone back, and I was like, "Oh shit! I got like 400 notifications. Sweet."
Well, people are jumping on you because they don't know what team to go at you for because you keep switching sides. I mean, who knows? If your organization would actually pay people and stop being all cheap and everything, and if you didn't want to pay T. Higgins, you should have traded him when all these other teams are trading their high-profile wide receivers, getting something back in return, then whatever. You need to blame the Bengals organization.
Why are we fighting about this? I don't understand why we're fighting. I'm having a good time.
Because it goes to that you got rid of Joe Burrow, who you were all in when he was magical, leading into a Super Bowl and all this stuff, and now you're putting him in the trash.
Terrell, you did not listen to a single thing that I said then a few weeks ago. No, a few weeks ago when I explained why. No, I've legit been for a long ass time. It is not just the Joe Burrow years that I was a fucking Bengals fan. I've sat here and I fucking
even more of a reason.
No, I've sat here and I fucking bled for no reason over shit that
I bleed all the time. We're talking about my organization in the news everywhere, right? We won in the 80s. We won in the 80s. Some of y'all might not even been born and shit.
I would say this. I would say that the Bengals and the Colts are in a similar. The thing with the Colts with Richardson is, I gotta believe I'm with Jimmy on the sense of that he has no accuracy. So when you can't throw with accuracy as a quarterback, that is going to lead to a lot of frustration. 10 for 32 at the end of the day will never we'll win teammates over.
Okay.
What
about your quarterback now, Jimmy? What about your quarterback now, Bo Nix?
But it doesn't even
matter. How many games has he thrown 6 for 25 and they won 6-3 and stuff?
But do you think that makes Richardson better though? I mean, do you think the Colts are like better off with him? I mean, if we're just focusing
for the future, yeah. For the future,
maybe
compared to Flacco right now, they're not going to win the division. Can they make any noise in the playoffs? I don't feel like their roster is good enough.
It's an interesting debate with the Colts. They're always in it. Like, so that's what always kind of throws me off a little bit with them. Because I look at sometimes, then last week he was a little bit better than he was this week. So it goes both ways with it. Brian, your Niners take the lead here, 13-10.
Yeah, they did.
13-10. We got the lead here now.
Look, he's smiling now. Look,
he's liking it. Purdy made a big throw there. Was that Samuel that he connected?
I don't know. I just need to see more from this freaking team.
Brian wants a big win. Brian wants a big win. They haven't had a big win at this time with
Brian. Do you want to pay Brock Purdy? You know you got to pay him next year. Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, I'd be willing to pay him, but get somebody into the damn organization that can run a different offense. It's the same shit with Shanahan. He's not going to change. It's Shanahan's system or nothing.
He's been successful.
He can't even audible out of a play. What does that show you? That Shanahan controls shit.
I think over time he'll get the flexibility to be able to do something like that. I gotta believe that he'll get. Here's the play that set up the rushing touchdown there by running back here. A big play to Kittle. Kittle's been awesome whenever he's been. I don't know. He's Kittle.
I think the only guy Shanahan trusts is Shanahan.
Well, I don't blame him.
It's been the same stuff in Washington with Terrell's team. After the first year, they wanted to get rid of RG3 and go to Cousins.
Brian,
the Shanahan.
Brian,
I'm just being real. Dude.
I am real with you. I'm a little worried you're becoming Al Davis with Mike Shanahan here. You need to take a deep breath here. We need to. Remember, Al was not a fan after a while. That's why they became big rivals when he went to the Broncos. Niners stink, Brian. We got it there. Oh, God. You know it. You know who our guy here. We got him out here. We got him out here 11. They do. Brian was ripping on him a little bit today, but they did take the lead. Brian, earlier today on Fat Boy Fadeaway, he said this might be the biggest loss in Shanahan era if they lost this game. That's kind of the way I would be with it. Jimmy, Love gets hurt halfway through the deal here. Willis comes in, gets the touchdown there. The Packers beat the Jaguars late. Best of the rest here. Packers continue to kind of just chip away here. Chip away. Are they over the Vikings for you now?
That's what I was going to ask you. What's your confidence level? Vikings or Packers?
That's a good one, Jimmy. Where do you got with it?
I've seen them both play really well, but then the last couple of close games, it gives you a little bit of pause. I think that they're just kind of biding their time because they're not able to flex the way that Detroit is right now. So they're both kind of hanging around, tied for, I think, second right now with their records, or I think maybe Minnesota's one game ahead of Green Bay. They're just kind of hanging around and know that you're going to have some games that you win. You're going to have, like everybody in the NFL season goes in thinking that you're going to win 5, you're going to lose 5, and then there's probably like 5 or 6 that are going to be up in the air. We got to make a few more plays. I think that that's more what they're looking for. I'm surprised by the Jaguars because Nico and I have both been saying that Doug Peterson was probably going to be one of the next coaches gone, outside of Zach Taylor and obviously Saleh, who's already been fired. Doug Peterson looked like he was going to be out by the time they came back from London. And, you had it up on the screen, a 4-game winning streak out of nowhere. And, Gabe Davis has had a good game, and Trevor Lawrence is not playing up to his potential. He's not playing up to the level that everybody said he was going to play up to coming out of college, but he's playing winning football. And I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed in the Packers for that game. I don't think that it should have been that close because I've seen the Packers beat teams that are better than the Jaguars. And I think that they probably let that one get away at the end.
I thought the Jaguars were going to show a little life there for a minute. I thought they were going to kind of fight back, kind of maybe get back 2-5, maybe make a little run here, get over 500 with Lawrence there, but they weren't able to get the job done. The Packers, though, they continue to kind of just surprise me a little bit. They seem like a wild card team, a first round exit though to me. Maybe a second round at best.
Didn't they win a wild card round last year?
They did, and then they lost to the Niners. right?
Yeah.
I think
Well,
right, Brian?
that was a much better Niners team.
It was. Do you think they could go to the NFC Championship, the Packers? Do you feel that from them yet? I guess I don't feel that vibe yet from them.
Not championship, but I don't think that you can say that they're just going to go in and be a first round exit.
That's fair.
LaFleur is a damn good coach. LaFleur will get a scheme that will give you a chance to basically win every single game.
Let me ask you this then: if you had to bet, me and you, we've done this long enough. Like, would you put it more on the side of they're going to the first round exit, and there's a better chance they get to the NFC Championship game? Like, where would you kind of go with that?
I'm saying that I sit right in the middle at like divisional round. Divisional round.
I believe it's not.
I'd say NFC Championship game right now.
No, I don't think
they're the second best team in the NFC right now.
I'm leaning right in the middle with divisional round, but if it's anything, it's like middle backward to first round exit. It's not middle forward to AFC Championship.
Okay. Yeah, good.
I like Brian there. I like that with it. All right, that was fun there. I think we had a little. I was at it's randomly this Cloverdale, California, Brian. You know where did I watch my game today, Brian? Where was it? Brian, what place did I watch football at today? Where did I do it?
Papa.
Good old Papa's Pizza. Where there's one lady. She's been there for the 8 years I've lived in this town. She's the one Dolphins fan I know, and she was there again today, and she saw the Cardinals lose the game. I was there. Had a nice little Russia River Brewery there, beer right out there with it, and of course, the Cardinals get the job done. Oakland A's first round pick Kyler Murray gets the win for the Cardinals, and against the Dolphins. Tua's back. Kind of some controversy, I guess, in some circles around that. He does come back. They do obviously look better offensively. They got more than 14 points. Nice job. They did do that with Tua back, so they were able to accomplish that. But Jimmy, I don't know, like the Dolphins, we put them on the list the last couple of weeks that you were able to make. We put them on the hit list last week. They're done. We put them on that list. Do you believe we made the right decision at kind of adding them to the list of teams that aren't going to make the playoffs?
I see for them a ceiling right now of a wild card, so I think that I'm good with keeping them on the list because I think that it's more likely they'll continue on. I mean, they put themselves by no fault of their own. They've been put into a pretty big hole when you had Skylar Thompson playing quarterback for you. Mm-hmm. So I just don't think there's not enough time left for them to make it up. I do want to say that if I was watching Game Day this morning and Teddy Bruschi was actually talking about this situation and I think had a pretty good thought on it. It is definitely a 110% Tua's choice whether he wants to come back and play after everything that's happened. It's his 110% choice whether he wants to wear a Guardian cap during the games or not. That's his choice. But I do also think that it was cool what Teddy Bruschi said. He's like, when people are watching you, when people are fans of you, it's not just that they want you to win the games and they want you to play up to your contract level. Some of these fans actually care about you and want to see you be healthy, and they want to see you live a good life. Because Teddy Bruschi had that health scare with the stroke, and he's like, I didn't want people to talk to me about it. It made me feel like I was weak. But he's like, people are looking at you like, just want to make sure you're okay. They just want to make sure you're doing the right things and your head's on the right way. So I think that moving forward with the whole Tua conversation, hopefully it's going to be around him the rest of the season, but hopefully we can start talking a little bit more about like he's getting back up to levels and he keeps himself healthy. That's 100% the thing that everybody wants to see. Stay healthy. Don't hurt yourself anymore. And maybe you can play well enough to get your team playing for a wild card spot.
And the Cardinals, they go to first place in the NFC West, Johnson, with the win over your Niners as well. The Cardinals are Anquan Bolden shout out. We got to get them the hat. You know where it's coming at some point during the year again. So we get they're in first place. You guys better not lose tonight, or those Cardinals are flying high in first place tonight. Brian, are you finally believing in the Cardinals a little bit?
Yeah, they're going to be a tough out the whole year. They're a tough team to beat. So I'll say that for sure.
Jimmy was on that from the beginning. I always give Jimmy a little credit. He said that for their preseason. Terrell, are you with the Cardinals?
I talked about them too. I said both of them. Yeah.
All right. Yep. You know who's not going to be a tough out? It seems like they just want to kick everybody's ass. Is the Lions right now? They just seem like they want to just go to work and just not make it a big deal. The Titans were had no chance today. No so what's the song, Brian? No chance in hell. Like they had no chance. They were dead.
Man.
Yeah, it was old Vince today. They had no chance tonight. So
they're ready for draft board time.
Yeah, Titans are like, who are we taking? Maybe number 1 or 2 this year. That's where it seems like they're sit with. And the Lions, they just kick butt. They just absolutely kick butt over the Titans. Do what they're supposed to do. Jimmy, I ask you this: are the Lions the best team in the NFL?
They've had the most impressive season so far. I think that you can say they are one of the best teams, but there's also still, Kansas City is out there. They're undefeated. They have not. They've been able to overcome anything that's happened in a game situation, and you can't say the same right now for Detroit because they do have that one loss. But I think Detroit playing against anybody right now is no fun. I don't think anybody else around the league is looking over because they don't just beat you. It is not enough for them to just beat you. They want to kick the ever-loving shit out of you. They want to stomp you on the ground, and then they want to go find your buddy because he was just standing next to you at the bar, and they want to kick the shit out of him too. You're going to get double curb stomped. Dan Campbell's out for blood this season, and he's throwing all of his trick plays. He's putting in 8 different offensive linemen, throwing passes to him, throwing hook and ladders and shit. This is the team they're just out there to make statements. It's style points. They're treating it like it's the old BCS days. They need the computer algorithm to do well for them. That's what the Detroit Lions are playing like right now.
Terrell, they're on a mission. Jimmy said it very well there. They just seem like they're locked and loaded. They're like in that perfect year. I don't know what next year's going to bring. All injuries change, but for right now, the way the salaries lined up, the players they have, this is the year. This is the year for them. This is the perfect storm for them to make the Super Bowl.
Well, the thing about it is we said this last year. Last year was supposed to be the year. Last year. So
they should have, but the Niners were still the favorite last year.
Yeah, but from the season before that to last year, everybody was eating that cereal. We were drinking that Kool-Aid. But here's my point. You have a coach who's always had a chip on his shoulder, even when he played. He knew he wasn't the most talented tight end, but he was going to be, you're going to remember my name for the things that I do. You're not going to outwork me. And that's something that he's always done. He's embodied that whole organization with the same thing. And the players that are on this team have that same chip. You don't think Jared Goff still has that gigantic chip on his shoulder? David Montgomery, chip. All these guys, Amon-Ra St. Brown, chips. All these people have chips on their shoulder. Jameson Williams, why are you drafting him? He's hurt coming out of college. He was probably going to win the Heisman. You know what I mean? He was better than Devontae Smith on that team. All these guys have something to prove. And why do you think they drafted Hendon Hooker? He's going to be another guy coming through there that has something to prove. This organization has been laughed at for so long, ridiculed for so long. They have 2 perfect seasons, meaning no wins. The opposite. You know what I mean? This team, the grudges are out there after last year getting cheated. That's why they're doing those trick plays, the petty stuff that they're doing, because they know they're confident they can get away with it. They're rolling on all cylinders. Nobody cares. Gibbs was a first-round pick, and he doesn't care that Montgomery scores all the touchdowns, and vice versa. We got all these players that could be stars on other teams that doesn't mind sharing the ball. It doesn't mind doing these things together. It's kind of crazy how contagious it is in that locker room. The culture is dramatically changed, and it's fun to watch. It's so fun to watch.
Brian, do you find them the scariest team in the NFC?
Yes.
But the question is going to be, if they get deep in the playoffs, do they blow it again? Because they had us on the ropes. They had us. We had no chance.
Will Dan Campbell go for it one too many times type of deal last year? That's what it was like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You ever see Henry we had on last year, Jimmy? He was like from Detroit. He said that. He's like, that's what's going to blow it if Dan Campbell.
Yeah, he was also coming off of watching a season of Michigan football where they barely knew what the forward pass was. I think that C. Henry was using a little bit of Michigan logic talking about the Lions. That's the way that they play. That goes back to the quote from Hard Knocks. I don't care if you have 1 ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass. It does not matter who shows up. It could be a freaking 7th. My 7th graders could show up against the Detroit Lions next Sunday, and he would still treat it like we had done something to them. He would still treat it like we had disrespected them, like he would just kick the ever-loving shit out of us, and he would laugh while he did it. and they would dance on our grave. That's this team.
That's right.
Sick. How could he do it? Jimmy, it's afternoon delight, my friend. We're at that point of the show here. All right, we've made it to afternoon delight. There's 5 games tonight, Jimmy. 5 afternoon delight games. That's a shocker for us. We never get that many in that game. And before I get to your where you were involved in it today, what did you think of Josh Allen? He gets the win against the Seahawks. I also have the Chargers. They get the win over the Saints. Chiefs beat the Raiders. Which one of those afternoon delights kind of get your attention there?
Well, these were the games that were going on when I was at the stadium, and it's a little bit hard to pay attention to everything when
What final score, I guess, kind of catches your attention?
Well, it wasn't even like the teams that won were teams that I was expecting to win. In that not San Diego, God damn it, Los Angeles game. In the Los Angeles game, the Saints guy that was trying to twist Herbert's knee. I'm glad that's one of those Old West justice, and I obviously don't know. Did he get flagged for? Did the offensive lineman get flagged for going after the D lineman for twisting Justin Herbert's knee? That was kind of, there's a whole bunch of stories that happen in the afternoon games, not necessarily like big changes or standing shakers. I expected the Bills to beat the Seahawks because they looked damn good with Amari Cooper last week. I wish that they looked a little bit better. Yeah, I think that that
was a big win for the Bills in Seattle with the rain there. Did you see the highlights of that play? I didn't even know that was legal. I was like, that's like the opposite of like throwing the ball, where Allen like fumbles the ball out of his hand and he kicks it with his left foot forward past the first down marker, and a wide receiver on the Bills picks it up for a first down, like literally 9 yards down the field. And I was like, that's kind of crazy they allowed that to be a first down to me. I thought it would have been.
Yes.
Because they said nobody forced the fumble. He literally just kind of it was a wet ball, but it's kind of a weird thought process that, remember there's that famous one with the Raiders and Chargers where they threw it forward. Like he literally kicked the ball forward and they got a first down. I'm like, man, if that was a playoff game, that would be way more of a big deal than it was today.
That's some schoolyard bullshit.
It was kind of one of those weird plays from the whole weekend that I'm like, if I see this again come up again, this is going to be a way bigger deal with the media than it was today. I know that. That's for sure. The Raiders, they lose to the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs stay undefeated. Andy Reid does those commercials. What an actor. He does a great job.
You did your job, Darren. Keep losing, get a quarterback in the draft.
That's what we do.
Shedeur. You're going to draft Shedeur.
We want him. That's who we want there now.
I don't know if he wants to be there, but that's apparently, according to ESPN, that's who you guys are going to be drafting.
Tom Brady got a standing ovation this week at the Raiders facility. That's all I know. That made me sick.
Why would he want to be there? What do you mean? Why would he want to be there?
Well, he was there. He was there.
I know what I'm saying. Shedeur. Why wouldn't Shedeur?
Shedeur would probably have himself a hell of a time. But I don't think that it's a good situation for it. That's going to have to be dealt with. But I think, I guess it's probably fresh in my mind. But I was thinking about Henry Ruggs when I was thinking about whoever's going out there.
Oh, wow.
I just think it's going to bring excitement. You need something that's going to bring talk.
Of anybody who can try and turn around that Raiders team, seeing all the stuff because they give him like a full 30-minute profile on every game that ESPN gets for CU, but his warm-up routine is very professional, does the same thing every single way. He tries to be as consistent as possible. That is a very talented individual that plays quarterback, and nobody remembers he is Deion Sanders' son, so he is actually pretty damn athletic. And
what do you mean nobody remembers?
It's just
what do you mean?
He got hurt the other night. Did you think he got hurt? I thought he was out when he got hurt the other night. I was like, oh boy. Then he walks up to Dion and then he ends up getting checked out out there as well. Bo Nix.
Shedor's not the answer. Shedor's not the answer for the Raiders.
Well, they need somebody.
It's Hunter. Hunter is the answer.
Hunter.
Yeah, he's going to be a damn good receiver in the NFL.
And corner. Corner. You're getting Shohei Ohtani for the Raiders as football.
Brian, we listened to Frank Caliendo, Hunter Renfrow, hell of a player. We listened to that this morning. We got the Bo Nix. You were there. I guess. What did you think of the game? Did Bryce Young look like a little bit better than what you would have thought, or what your overall thoughts of the Broncos-Panthers game that you were live at today?
The Broncos left some points on the table, and the Panthers came out and scored first, but the Panthers are god awful. this game should have ended 28-7. There was a garbage time touchdown. The defense has looked pretty good, and they got some guys that are flashing. But Nico and I were talking about it when we were sitting in the stands. It's going to be interesting following this team for the next couple of years with this Russ contract, because you're going to be able to keep a handful of guys that are on your roster right now, and you're going to have to start all over with new young guys on cheap contracts, because you still got a lot of dead money coming at you for 2 more seasons. So you're trying to figure out. I think what we said was you'll know what Bo Nix is, whether you're going to keep him or whether you're going to have to move on and figure something out. And I'm not saying one way or the other, but it'll be 3 years into his contract right now. He's a first-round pick, so you have that 5th year. It'll be interesting to see how this roster turns over and who they decide is worthy of keeping and who they decide is, they can figure something else out. They're going to draft somebody or they're going to bring in a free agent. Because, who thought that Cody Barton and Quan Alexander were going to be the starting middle linebackers in a game today? I don't think that was anybody's bingo card at the beginning of the season, but they're there and they're playing pretty damn well. And they got Justin Sternad on the defensive side. Zach Allen's playing out of his mind. Surtain had an interception today. They played well and they did what they needed to do. Like I said, they left points on the field.
I mean, they're 5-3. They're having a good season so far.
No, there's and moving forward, next week is Baltimore.
That'll be a big game.
Last time I think Baltimore is better than Baltimore did just recently beat Tampa Bay, so it's not outlandish to say, but I think Baltimore is better than Tampa. Last time that the Broncos played somebody up to that level, Broncos played pretty damn well and had a good scheme. I don't know what to expect next week. I do think that they'll be able to keep the Chiefs game a lot closer than it has been over the last few years, because the Chiefs are playing everybody close, and when it's close, who knows what's going to happen. I think that they'll be able to get one off the Chiefs this season. I don't know if they're not going to sweep them by any means, but they'll be able to get one off of them.
Interesting schedule the next 2 weeks: at Ravens, at Chiefs. That's as tough a 2 games you can have in a row.
Jimmy is officially on the hype train.
I like
I'm
it.
not on the hype train. It was definitely a good game today, and he didn't make
my Raiders lost
mistakes. Yeah, your Raiders lost to the Panthers, but it was just kind of just when you play the Panthers, there's what you can take from it.
That Dr. Pepper commercial.
It doesn't matter.
We're on the hype train. Our quarterback got hurt during practice. Get off the hype train.
It'd be interesting, Brian, though, if they did beat the Ravens next week and went to 6-3. Like if they did,
that would be huge.
If they beat them at Baltimore. That's where
it's not going to happen.
No, I mean it's going to be. That's a tough win, right? And then you got to go to at Kansas City, and that's as tough as it gets. Back to back in the NFL. That's I can't think of a worse back to back in the AFC than that duo right there on the road at Baltimore than at Kansas City. So we'll see what Denver's made of the next 2 weeks. We'll see what they're kind of there. All right. Oh yeah. Adam Darwish, our friend down here, the Patriots get the win. Adams not enough for the Jets. They lose. The Jets lose at the goal line there. Not enough with May out. He gets out with a concussion. Brissett comes in. He throws the goal line. Looks like a touchdown down to the half-inch line. They run it in, Jimmy. The Jets doing Jets things. This is the ultimate Jets thing, right? You make a trade for Adams, and then you lose 2 in a row. And, of course, they're heartbreak losses. And then once they went for 2, and they go for 2 after their touchdown, and they get a delay a game. It's not like Drake May's the quarterback. You're Aaron Rodgers. You're the quarterback. You shouldn't get a delay a game going for 2 points after. I don't know. The Jets look like they're dead. They're dead, right? They're dead.
They need to fire their coach. Oh, wait a minute. They already did that. And then they spend all 3 of their timeouts in the first quarter. Oh, that happened too. So this is way more than just the players. Their whole coaching staff, everything else is all just stupid. Aaron Rodgers is the coach, the GM, everything else. And that's the problem. Right. The best player on their team is Breece Hall. And he can't be Breece Hall because Aaron Rodgers has to get his stats. He's got to get his throws. He's got to get his numbers. They get down to the goal line or by the 10-yard line. He's got to throw the touchdown. We can't just use our best player to score the ball. You know what I mean? It's just a mess. It's a mess, and I love it.
Jimmy, they've been one of the worst franchises. There's a few AFC teams that have been bad the last 20 years. They're right up there with it on the longest streak right now. And it looks like – you think Rodgers retires after this year? I was curious to get your thoughts on that.
He said that he was about 98 or 90 something % close the last time. I don't know. He might just finish out his contract and then be done with it and disappear. I can't believe I'm about to say it, but Woody Johnson might be just as bad or maybe worse of an owner than Paul Brown, because everything that he did so far this season is like, you have a defensive head coach and your defense didn't give up touchdown or more than one touchdown for 3 weeks. And then that's the week that you decide to fire him. Right. Because he wanted to do the right thing and take away play calling abilities from this dumbass offensive coordinator that your quarterback forced you to bring in that has no business being there. Like everything from Hackett being brought in to now all going full circle and having Saleh working in Green Bay as some sort of consultant with LaFleur. Everything they deserve everything that they're getting, because Woody Johnson tried to mash all the buttons. He was trying to take a victory lap before anything ever even happened. And who would have thought that last season when Aaron Rodgers blew his Achilles, that was actually better than the season that they get him to play quarterback for him.
I'm so glad you brought up that Saleh went to Green Bay. Because that's just petty, petty, petty. Okay, Aaron Rodgers, you want to get him fired? He's going to come to us and watch us succeed while y'all fail. The NFL is petty, petty, petty. And that's just so funny.
And that's what happened. And Saleh, kudos to you for wanting to go back to work. I'd be taking a couple months off. Let's just put it that way. If somebody fired me and it would be $20 million, I'd be in Hawaii somewhere right now. Do
the Jets play again this season? Because Saleh might go out there and sack Aaron Rodgers himself.
I give Saleh better credit, Jimmy. He's a better man than me. I would have been in Vegas. I've been like, you fired me, I'm going to be taking a few months off, and I'll take that $20 million and we'll just kind of play it from there. The Jets, they go to 2-6. Definitely one of the more disappointing teams on the year. The Raiders get that.
I mean, I wasn't impressed with Rodgers last year in Green Bay, and the fact that he's putting together this team, I just knew it wasn't going to work out.
You've been with that the whole time. And the Jets are just always
and
trying.
He won't retire because he wants his money.
Do you think he'll play one more year?
Every single dime of it, and he'll play out, dude. That's who he is, dude.
Mm-hmm. The only way he won't retire is if he fakes an injury. He's too prideful of a man to retire on a down note. Now, if he pretends like he gets hurt and he's like, I really wanted to do it. I really wanted to come back and win for you guys, but my body just couldn't do it. My body wouldn't help me. That'd be some Aaron Rodgers shit right there. He's not going to just be healthy and be like, I'm retiring as we go 2-9, 11 or whatever. You know what I mean? That's not Aaron Rodgers. No.
I went to Oregon. I went to a dark cave, and I found out that I couldn't do it. That's what happened. He went to Oregon.
You butter where? How much butter did you put where?
Smoked some good shit this year. This year, he's going to be, we're going to be the greatest team ever, even though we suck.
Eat a button of this and talk to me in the morning.
Exactly. 20-10 Niners there with it. Jimmy, can we cross off the Jets now? Should we put them on the list? 2-6.
Yeah, I put the Jets on.
I would put the Jets, and you guys are probably going to give me shit, but I would probably put Cincinnati there because the defense is just so bad that I don't think that they'll be able to pull themselves out of this hole. So I would probably say that we could put 2 more on the list this week.
Jimmy,
I feel like the Jets have a better chance than the Bengals.
I think probably.
I'm give Jimmy that because he wanted it since week 1. So I'm going to give Jimmy that right now.
This isn't an emotional reaction. This is me thinking about it as logically as possible. Those are 2 teams that I can see. It'll be a hell of a turnaround if either of them are in the playoffs and we were wrong.
Let's add them to the
I
list.
think you need to take the Rams off.
The Rams shouldn't be on there.
Yeah, I'm just being real, too.
It was hurt. That was when we were still trying to figure out who everybody was.
We always like to have a team on there, right, Jimmy? We had the Packers last year made it, so we always like to have one random team that we had on the list. So we'll see.
Darren, can I say one thing about all those teams that are right there?
Yeah.
I think the future for all those teams that are included in this list is brightest for the Raiders.
Oh God, I don't see it.
I mean, let me explain why. You've played some tough games, right? You beat Baltimore, who still could win a Super Bowl this year. I mean, really, they still could get to the Super Bowl. You hung with Kansas City, and you really should have possibly won or made it even closer. You have Tom Brady now as Tom Brady as a minority owner. So when he goes into a free agent's house or on the phone, yo, this Tom Brady. You're trying to join it with us. That has extra weight to it to get some certain kind of players to come more than anything else. It's Vegas, brand new state, everything about the hoopla of the Raiders. And then you add I'm telling you, Tom Brady as the X factor. You think Tom Brady's going to allow his team to suck?
It would be funny if Tom Brady was the X factor, considering he was the person that has killed my Raiders franchise. He was the person that destroyed us. He was the last person that just put us out of our. He literally. I have not enjoyed football since that.
You saw the rap he got, right?
Yeah, I have not enjoyed football since. Yes, I did.
No, there's a Raider. There's a restaurant in Vegas that Tom Brady's part owner of or whatever, and they have a sandwich. It's a wrap, and it's called the Tuck Rule.
Oh God, the veggie. I bet it's a veggie sandwich, Jimmy. I bet some sort of veggie sandwich, gluten free.
Lots of avocados. Lots of avocados.
Jimmy, week 9 matchups as we move into it. Thursday night, you get those Jets at home versus the Texans. Maybe the Jets get a little upset there. Maybe a little upset city there out of the blue. Niners up 27-10, just to let people know here. They're kind of pulling away from the Cowboys, who are falling apart as we're ending the show here. I'm sure Brian's enjoyed that 27-10 here now over that. But anyway, so you get that.
I need to see more. You
need it over a winning team. I get that. Cowboys, Falcons next week, Brian. Raiders, Bengals, a lot on the line, like we said. Get that as well. Commanders, Giants. That's who your Commanders should get the W. Broncos, Ravens, both 5-3. Kind of an interesting game, Jimmy. Kind of in that walk. And then you have the Lions and Packers in the afternoon.
Big game.
A big game. And then Monday night, interesting game. You still think the Chiefs are obviously the heavy favorite, but Buccaneers and the Chiefs, maybe some offense there is the way. But some interesting games that week.
Rams Seahawks is the one I'm most intrigued by, because if the Rams win, they pull themselves even with the Seahawks, and then depending on what happens with San Francisco tonight, that is the opening that the Rams need, and they're healthy. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua played Thursday night. They look healthy.
What do you think of the Broncos Ravens?
The most intriguing thing of the second half will be how CMC will look when he comes back.
They need to get him back. I mean, he's one of the best players in the NFL. So it'll be interesting when we talked about this morning on Fat Boy Fadeaway. Will he come back after the bye week? He is. Would you guys say he's the best offensive player in the NFL? Or
he's the reigning offensive player of the year.
That's my point. So you get him back, that makes a difference. He is the biggest what if for the Niners. He really is. You get him back week 12, it's that's a little bit of a boost.
You need him back by week 12 so that he can get himself ready. He's not going to be in shape if he comes back later than that. I highly doubt that he's going to be able to keep himself ready to actually play in those meaningful games. I think that he needs a little bit of the regular season to get his feet wet, because it's been a long-ass time. And these apparently are not easy injuries to deal with. Probably, let's not just throw his feet out into the fire and blow both of them. Let's not get him more injured by trying to push him and put him in these tough situations.
You can't with Achilles. You have to rest it. That's the big thing. And next Sunday when we do the show, we'll have Colts at Vikings. So that's kind of an interesting game. We'll see we just talked about Richardson a little bit. You have Darnold. So Jimmy, that'll be kind of an interesting game here Sunday night. Just kind of from that standpoint, kind of two teams that need a win, right? The Vikings have lost 2 in a row. They lose to the Colts at home, 5-3. Everything that you've built up with those first 5 wins kind of goes to waste. It feels like a little bit there. You win that, you go 6-2. That's how I feel a little bit. The Colts 4-5. We'll see what happens there with it. So, and then tomorrow night, you guys think the Steelers pull up? They get the W versus the Giants? Is that around? Does anybody think the Giants get a W? Nobody thinks the Giants pull it out. No, nobody at all. It's funny. Russell Wilson, he comes in for Fields. Jimmy, you weren't here last week. What'd you think? You like that decision?
I obviously didn't watch the game. I was rocking my face off at the Hardy concert down at Red Rocks.
Yes, you were.
Just having a much better time than having to sit there and watch that. No, I think that this game, the Giants, outside of Dexter Lawrence, the Giants have, and Malik Neighbors, I almost forgot. Dexter Lawrence, Malik Neighbors are 2 of my favorite players to watch this season because they just dominate at their positions and they're very, very good against really, really good athletes. The Giants suck. Daniel Jones is stealing money. I'm not the one that's saying that. I'm echoing what I hear out of New York Giant fans all throughout Twitter and all throughout everything. He's stealing money. So that's where the Giants are sitting right now. I don't think that they're going to pull off some upset tomorrow night.
Not looking good for them in that regard. Brian, you got a winner and loser for week 8?
My winner is definitely Jameis Winston from the Cleveland. That was a big win for him. And then my loser of the week is the I would definitely say the Tennessee Titans, because they need to figure something out, because they need a franchise quarterback.
Here's that throw Winston made there for the win. There gets the Ravens. Big time throw there. Gets the W. Just as you call it, winner of the week there with it. So good calls there with it. Terrell, you got a winner and loser of the week here?
Hey, I'm a co-sign with my man, the main man, Johnson. The winner of the week is clearly Jameis Winston, because if people forget, first round pick, eating W's, stealing crab legs, and everything else, couldn't see, swinging and all this stuff. But the talent has always been there. They let him go, get Tom Brady win. He goes and sits behind Drew Brees. Don't get the starting job. Goes being a backup. He is guaranteed to be a starting quarterback in the NFL next year, to get a contract, aka kind of like a Baker Mayfield type, and get a contract with somebody. Somebody's going to pay him because of these things. So he's the biggest winner, because when Deshaun Watson got hurt last week, he didn't even go in. They didn't even put him in. So now he's doing some stuff. And I wouldn't count Cleveland out. We saw the Flacco effect last year. They still have talented players on the team. Don't count in that division. Don't count them out yet, because the wild card's all through the AFC. The second place team is, how confident are you in all 4 divisions? I mean, my loser of the week is definitely the Baltimore Ravens. Woo! Every time we want to anoint them as the best team in football, they lose. Like the first week, they lost to Kansas City, but it was like, they way better in Kansas City. Then you lose to the Raiders. You know what I mean? Then you have all these big wins, and then you just lose again. You know what I mean? The Ravens, what are you, dude? What are you? I've always said that I think their Harbaugh is the most overrated coach, and my man in San Diego, other Harbaugh, is very underrated as coach as far as NFL standards go. I mean, I'm just saying, Jim is better than John.
Got Vandy Chris here tuning in. The Chiefs getting D-Hop have to be among the week's winners. I'm sorry, my Titans did that everywhere. So, yeah, his Titans did not look good tonight. Hopkins to the Chiefs, Jimmy. Kind of an interesting little trade there for Mahomes along the way there, too. That's definitely a good part of it. You got a winner and loser of the week, sir, here for week 8?
My loser, the Carolina Panthers, because I got to see that up close and personal, and it's just as bad, maybe worse than what I thought. It's stinky poo-poo out there. That's just one of the worst football teams that I've ever seen. And they talk shit. I cannot believe that. Nico and I were sitting there, and he looked at me, and he's like, I wasn't going to say anything. But after the first touchdown, so I don't even know his name. He's a special teams captain, because I was looking for him when he was on defense. He's number 42, Franklin, for the Carolina Panthers. I'm looking for him. He's like, oh, how are you a captain if you don't even start? He's a special teams captain. Johnny Hecker, the king of the fake punt, throws a fake punt to this dude, and he fucking falls down in front of the football, doesn't even get a chance to – he would have converted. It's like, oh, you just signed your death sentence, because we're sitting on the opposing sidelines like, where'd you at, Franklin? Where are you going? Come back down here. Why are you hiding on the other side of the sidelines, bud? You got to come face the music. What's going on? So the Carolina Panthers are my loser.
I mean, aren't they always the loser?
They're always. Hey, Bryce Young threw a touchdown pass. Two touchdown passes. Two.
Very impressive. What league was that matter? Who's your winner?
All right, my winner accounted for 4 touchdowns. Bo Nix.
That was my winner too.
This Homer.
I had him as one of my winners too.
I can't say shit tonight. That's fine.
What do you? I think your Commanders are winners of this week. You win a Hail Mary. You win a game like that on the road. Daniels playing the way he did. In review of the Panthers, I present to you the Tennessee Titans, who had Jeff Simmons bark yet. The Titans are just as bad. The Titans are in a bad spot. They're talented. And so I had the Commanders and win. I had Bo Nix. I'm with Jimmy on that. I had them as winner of the week as well. The loser of the week to me was the Jets, Brian. I mean, we talked about it. You lose. I mean, that's the loser of the week. Rodgers' face there as they couldn't snap the ball at the end versus the Patriots. Just a little victory amongst the Raiders' loss. Just a little victory there with it. So we got that little part there. And then the Cowboys, they're going to be losing again today to the Niners. They're down 27-10. They just it'll be interesting how long if McCarthy does hang on for the whole season. We'll see what happens there with it. So, Brian, your Niners look to be back on track tonight, but I know you want a bigger win. So we'll see what happens there with it as well. So those are our winners and losers of the week.
To be fair, Darren.
Yep.
Bo Nix has improved throughout the year.
He has. I thought he was going to be trash.
I tell you what, it's about being in the right spot with the right personnel. Sean Payton is the perfect coach for Bo Nix. I feel like if Bo Nix would have went to many other places, I don't know about the trajectory of his career. He's in a perfect place with Sean Payton. So
if you swap him and Rattler, because they're both rookie quarterbacks, it's the same situation where Rattler's looking like he's improving. Well, I mean, he'd look better than he does in New Orleans, and Bo Nix wouldn't play very well. I don't think Bo Nix would work in that. I don't think that Dennis Allen would get the best out of him. I think that he definitely works with him, and the guys around Bo Nix right now are missing some of his plays. His numbers would look even better. He had a couple deep bombs down the sideline today that literally dropped through his buddy from Oregon, Troy Franklin's hands. I'm about sick and tired of seeing Troy Franklin running routes on an NFL football field. He can't catch a cold standing in the Arctic. So,
but he's at least finding Courtney Sutton now.
Oh yeah,
knows where his bread is buttered. Let me throw it to my best wide receiver on the field.
He hit the tight end twice too. He hit like 3 tight ends for touchdown passes today. Troutman had a one-handed touchdown pass in the end zone. He's making, he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't throw the bad interceptions. He took one really, really, really bad sack that knocked him out of field goal range early when they were still trying to get a little bit of a lead up on him. But outside of that, I think he's the least sack quarterback, or top 5 in the least sack quarterbacks this season. And we had Russ the last 2 seasons that I think took 90 sacks combined.
The Broncos for sure have, like I said, next week against the Ravens. That's going to be a big game. So I'm interested to see where you guys play that out with it for sure. How that plays out with. We look into week 9 next week.
Spencer Rattler's not an NFL quarterback.
No. After seeing some of his other videos,
I was surprised anyway.
I wish that Nico could tell the story. Nico does not have the ability to share these stories because it's an actual legal thing that happened with him. But he worked at the high school that Spencer Rattler went to for when he was in college. And we have a buddy that we went to high school with that currently works at the school that Spencer Rattler went to. It was not just, what's publicized is that he was stealing shit and trying to sell it from his other classmates. There's other stuff that's worse than that with everything. So
Brian, TMZ Jimmy, we love this. We love that.
He said I shouldn't say that. Nico's not gonna say anything in the legal trouble, but let me go ahead and tell you all the juicy shit.
I love it, Brian. Me and you joke about that all the time.
Everybody knows that that's public knowledge that he stole shit. That's why he got kicked out and suspended. If you watch, he was on the first season of the Netflix show. Netflix is the one that broke it.
That's why I don't like him anyway, or Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a piece of trash. He treated everybody like trash. He was mean to everybody, yo.
Russell Wilson, shut out there. We got it. Boys, it's good to have the 4 of us back here for a Sunday night here. Talking the Gridiron. Jimmy back, refreshed from Vegas, went to the game today. Love that insight. Terrell's Commanders, Mike.
I love that hat. Jimmy's got a fresh lid on. That lid is fresh. Let me see the front of it again. That jump right there is fire. I ain't gonna lie. Look at that jump. That jump is fresh.
Yeah, it's a good one right there.
Leather too. It's the nice.
I like it. Looks good, bro. It looks good on you. I like that.
Jimmy, Brian's got the Purdy on 27-10 here, and I'm wearing the Raiders.
Is that Purdy's jersey?
Yeah, it's Purdy's jersey.
I'm wearing a Raiders hat, but we're gonna keep it backwards for today. We're gonna get. We're not gonna put it forward tonight. That is staying in sight there. We're not keeping that on for tonight there with it. But guys, good to have you back with it, Jimmy. You're the best in the business. Appreciate you, man. As a co-host here with you all the time, talking the Gridiron. He's back. Coach P, got Terrell here, Brian, the main man, Johnson. I'm Darren Breyer. We'll see you guys next week for week 9 here in the NFL season.
So we all